Welcome to the weekend, good people of the world. I hope this message finds you truly well and joyful and that you are planning to get out there and get after it. This is your bFIT bonus and it's Q&A time, so let's go. What is good in your hood, balanced fit family? This is bFIT bonus, the soft cotton hoodie in Balanced Fit Radio's bottom drawer. Some hopefully useful stuff you can carry into the weekend. I'm Scott Schroeder, certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach, performance enhancement specialist, and corrective exercise specialist, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into it. All right, everyone. If you want, since this is a regular thing, if you want to get your questions into the show, send it in, scott@balancefitsc.com, or message me on the socials if you must engage with such nonsense. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and my YouTube channel so you can get this information into your cranial inbox without fail. And if you want to follow me on the socials, that's fine. But as always, I'd rather you stay out of your phone as much as possible. Also, go to balancefitsc.com to check out anything that might be of interest to you, any of my programs. I do remote online stuff, and I've got some pretty cool programs in there. So if you find anything, find some value in anything that I say here in this little podcast space, and you think you might want to ingest some of it, take it in, synthesize it with your own plan, with your own regimen, with your own aura, as it were, then by all means, visit Balanced Fit SC. That's SC as in South Carolina, balancefitsc.com, and check it out. All right. Fitness headlines for the week. Under longevity and strength, a March 2026 study in JAMA Network Open, that's Journal of the American Medical Association, found that muscle strength is a key driver for longer lives, especially in women age 63 to 99. This is a spoiler, a little sneak peek of what we got going on here in just a few minutes. And they recommend increased focus on resistance training. Now, I'll be 57 here in about a month, and my mother's generation, and even shortly following those, probably the beginning of Gen X too, there was not a really an impetus for any kind of resistance or strength training for whatever reason. It was probably had a lot to do with inertia, with carryover. It just maybe was a bit unseemly for previous generations for women to be in the gym jacking steel around and getting strong. And I'm sure, lots of things carry on for no other reason but inertia. Before somebody corrects, and we have corrected. Let's not revisit the stupidity of the past. Actually, let me restate that. We should revisit the stupidity of the past from time to time to remind us of the stupidity of the past. However, what we don't need to do is dwell on it as if it still exists. Okay? So, this is very good, particularly for anyone, resistance training, but particularly for older women because of two things: sarcopenia and osteopenia/osteoporosis, which is the age-related progressive loss, sarcopenia, of muscle tissue, and then, of course, osteopenia, osteoporosis, the loss of bone mineral density and bone mass. Resistance training, in other words, moving heavy stuff around or using resistance bands to stress the muscles and the bones and the connective tissue, helps fight both sarcopenia and osteoporosis. So by all means, everybody, but ladies, no matter your age, no matter your space, where you're at, what you're doing, get out there and pick up heavy stuff and put it down. You will likely live longer, and it comes with a whole lot of, not only will you, and you know what, here's the thing, you may not live longer, but the days that you do live will be much better. That's a better way to think about it. You never know what's going to take you out, right? Genetically or environmentally, you have no idea what's going to take you out. So why not be stronger, healthier, more capable in the days that you are here, and forget about the number of those days. Think more about, don't forget about it. You know what I mean. We all want to be here longer, but focus on the quality of those days rather than the quantity of those days. But these things come, the staving off of or reversal of sarcopenia and osteopenia / osteoporosis have benefits beyond the first order benefits of adding muscle mass and reducing bone mineral density loss and all that stuff. And you're going to prevent falls. You're going to prevent falls. You're going to be stronger. Your connective tissue is going to be stronger. You're going to have stronger bones, stronger muscles, stronger bones if you do fall, because we all fall. Doesn't matter what, elite athletes fall. So are you going to be able to recover from that or not get injured in the first place or reduce the severity of your injuries? There's a psychological component to this. If you're stronger, you feel better. If you're stronger, you're leaner. If you're leaner, you feel better. You don't just feel better physically because you can stand up straight and you can move through life with a sense of purpose and you can engage in the things that bring you joy and take care of your responsibilities. There's a psychological component to being leaner, to feeling better. Okay, so that is going to help. There is a direct connection to positive psychology, positive emotions, and longevity, and also the, as I said, the quality of those days and your years, not just the quantity. The things that this helps reduce, things that come along with hormonal changes, poor nutrition, chronic disease, all that kind of stuff, you can really pull a 180 or close to it if you engage in resistance training. Moving on. I like this one. Anytime I see Gen Z or anybody after that, I don't know, millennials, I don't know about y'all, man. Is it too late? Do you need some help? Yeah, you do. But anyway, Gen Z, anytime I see Gen Z or even Alpha, although they're a little young for really cultural evolutionary stuff, but Gen Z is apparently heavily adopting high rocks in their lives. And if you don't know what that is, high rocks it's a competitive fitness race that involves a lot of running and a lot of shoving, pulling, throwing, lifting heavy stuff. Essentially, it's competition based. It could be individual, it could be tag team, it could be teams, things like that. But you're going to have 1K, a bunch of 1K runs interspersed with sled pushing and sled pulling and burpees and broad jumps and rows and farmer carries and sandbag lunges and wall balls and all kinds of stuff like that. So, Gen Z, I'm happy for you. I love it. You guys need to take ownership of this culture and steer us back out of the ditch, okay? You guys don't leave it to the alphas, okay? Take charge of this. Forget about what's going on now. Don't try to live in the world you want. You need to live in the world you have and make it the world you want, okay? Where everybody can live, where all of our little Venn diagrams overlap and we're all able to do the stuff that we need and want to do without being forced into something, but add your good stuff to it. So pull everybody with you. Pull the tide. Initiate the tide that pulls everybody, the tide of wellness, fitness, and health that pulls everybody along. So, with high rocks, the one thing I would caution you on, just like CrossFit, is because this is so intense, it's easy to get involved with quickly and then burn out, flame out due to injury or other stuff. So just be mindful. Train yourself up to high rocks. Don't just jump off the couch into a high rocks competition. And also make sure that your training is balanced. This is HIIT. This is high intensity interval stuff. And as the word intense is in there, so we don't want to go, it's not healthy to rely completely on an intense training regimen, but get after it. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, and let's keep after it. Here's a thing in fitness industry trends. Planet Fitness is apparently focusing on integrating with GLP-1 users, the weight loss drug, emphasizing the need for strength training to combat muscle loss. Now, how I interpret this, I'm gonna stay positive here, and how I interpret this is that there was an exploding trend, of course, when GLP-1s hit the pop culture, hit en masse as a quick fix to weight loss without the work. And as marketers will do, they're marketing it to you as science. And the celebrities and people who endorse this crap really should be ashamed of how they put it forward, because they're not telling you what happens when you get on one of these GLP-1s and you don't combine it with other lifestyle changes. You just take the injection, you lose the weight, but you don't do any resistance training or any cardio fitness training. And so essentially, yeah, you're losing weight, but you're also losing a lot of muscle mass with it too. You're not getting mentally healthier. You're not getting physically healthier if you're not adjusting your nutrition along with it. You're just losing weight. Great. Okay. Guess what? You stop taking that little jab, you gain the weight back real quick if you haven't made those lifestyle adjustments. So they're not telling you that. So I'm not going to tell anybody I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. However, I don't like it. There are second and third order consequences, and fourth and fifth, who knows, to jamming chemicals into your body. But if you were going to take it, prescribed by a doctor for weight loss, for medical weight loss, and not just cosmetic weight loss, please pair it with lifestyle adjustments, exercise, resistance training, walking, and nutritional adjustments. Make sure that you can keep the weight off, and make sure that you can get off of this drug, okay? Because you know what they want? They want you to be a customer for life. You think they're looking out for your best interest? Don't kid yourself. All right, on to Q&A. I'm going to break these down a little bit. I have, starting off with Andrew here in Morristown, New Jersey. He's 34, married, dad, got a couple of kids that are 7 and 8. And Andrew says that he's overweight, busy, wants to be present for his family. Good for you. Good start mentally. The question comes down to, where do I realistically start with a fitness plan when I'm exhausted every day and already feel behind? Fair enough. Okay, Andrew. The first thing I see is not start a fitness plan. It's I'm exhausted every day. So before we get into talking about any kind of weight training, walking, running, cardiorespiratory fitness, any sort of training program, let's back up for a second, take a pause, and figure out why you're already exhausted every day. Now, outside of the fact that you have 2 young kids, let's not be stupid. That's exhausting, okay? Being a parent is exhausting. Living life can be exhausting. You're working, you got kids, you're trying to be there for your wife, and you're trying to have a social life. You're doing all the things that a good, full, rich life should have. However, there are things we can look at. We'll start with this one. And once again, with 2 young kids, it's tough. But you don't have toddlers. Says they're 7 and 8. So, are you sleeping? Do you have a routine? Are you taking in caffeine late in the day? And that's not just coffee. Think about everything that might have caffeine in it, or high sugar stuff. Screen time. Are you taking your phone to bed with you and doom scrolling while you're lying in bed? Or are you sitting in front of one of these screens with not only the light but the data stream, and your brain focused on this BS within an hour, less than an hour before sleep, before bedtime? If so, you need to check that. You need to adjust. We might need to have, as I always talk about, might need to have the metaphorical funeral for old Andrew, so we can get rid of some of these things. So you need to create a routine for sleep. You need to go to bed and get up the same time every day, okay? You might have to ask your family members to adjust with you. If they love you, they will. Your kids aren't going to understand this, but your kids are going to understand that dad's trying to get healthy and making some changes to do that. It's on some level they're going to understand that, and you can gamify this stuff with your kids to help with that. So get yourself a sleep routine, get in bed at roughly the same time, and get up roughly every day, every night. Get up roughly the same time every morning. Start a routine with that. The routine needs to go all the way out to when you brush your teeth, floss. How the regimen of how start Start a plan, okay? Start a regimen and get yourself into a routine and stick to that routine until it becomes innate, till it becomes self-engendering, as we talk about. Next is obviously your nutrition. There is stuff, crap, garbage that we put into our bodies that affect our energy. Are we eating a bunch of fried foods? Are we eating a bunch of oily stuff? Are we eating a bunch of saturated fat? Are we eating a bunch of industrial baked goods? A bunch of stuff that's loaded with salt and sugar. All of this stuff is going to cause hypertension, and it's going to cause inflammation. Inflammation is the number one cause of pain, and pain means we can't sleep, okay? So how's your nutrition? I'm not asking you to think right now and break down everything that you do, but be honest with yourself, Andrew, and think, are there changes that I can make based on just like the little bullet points that I just said that can sort of nudge us in the right direction? Alcohol. Are you drinking or taking in any kind of other intoxicants? Because yes, alcohol is a depressant and it will knock us out, but it will absolutely jack with your deep sleep, and you will wake up in the middle of the night, and it will be very difficult for you to go back to sleep. Like your REM cycle and your deep sleep cycles will be interrupted, but you'll also have to get up to pee. So we need to think real hard about alcohol. And I know that it's culturally endemic and that it's legal, and we see it and we defend it as something that's part of what we do, but it's poison. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. It is literally poison. And I hate using the word literally, but it is. I need to drive that home. And you got kids and a family. You don't need to be drinking anyway. I want you to sit down and think about do some pros and cons. Are there any pros? I mean, real, legitimate pros to consuming alcohol? Listen, you're not in your 20s. We're very stupid in our 20s, and we're trying to figure ourselves out, and the social scene basically demands that we drink, although that's changing. Gen Z is not drinking not as much as we did. For sure, Gen X, and nobody drinks as much as the boomers. What else? Screen time. I kind of talked about that with your sleep. Your screen time is going to affect your biorhythms, your brain, and your ability to rest and to reset. It's going to mess with your cortisol, and it's going to mess with your dopamine and all of the hormonal dumps that you get from screen time. Because that stuff ain't designed for you to have a pleasant time. It's designed to spike your emotions and depress your emotions so that you will buy stuff. So get out of the screens. So let's make sure that we start getting those things in order. Your sleep, your nutrition, your intoxicants, your food. Let's start getting that in order so we can execute a fitness plan. Now, depending on you said overweight. Don't know what, you didn't indicate how much, so depending on the severity of your weight issue, I recommend starting with walking. Boring, I know, but you want to lose weight, you want to get healthier. Excuse me, let me back up. I try to beat that term out of my vernacular. Weight loss is one thing, fat loss is another thing. We may not need to lose a bunch of weight, but we may need to lose a bunch of visceral fat. There's no better thing for that than low-intensity walking. Zone 2-ish. Don't worry about the zones. That's stupid trainer nonsense that they try to force you to memorize. Walking 45 minutes to an hour, 3 to 4 times a week. Make time for this. Do not compromise on these things. Do you want to have better days? Do you want to have more better days? Do you want to be present, as you said, for your kids and your wife? Do this. Make time to walk. You can do it. You can find it. If you spend more than 0.0 seconds on your phone, you have time to do stuff. Do that 3 to 4 times a week with a bonus. Walk after dinner. After every single dinner, unless you live in Minnesota and it's minus 12 outside, or it's pouring down rain or something like that, go for a walk after dinner. Let your food settle for 10, 15, 20 minutes and get up and go for a walk. Doesn't have to be much, 5, 10 minutes. Just get up and walk around the block. That will help your digestion, which will also lead to a healthy gut biome and more fat loss. You'd be shocked how much better you feel just by walking after dinner anyway. You won't have that kind of coma sit around after dinner, blah, like a lump on the couch whole thing. You don't need any equipment, but for minimal expense, you can get some resistance bands and a kettlebell. You can get like a 25-pound kettlebell and a little pack of resistance bands for maybe like a total of about $50. And you could probably you can go on the marketplaces and the little trade sites and find used stuff for probably cheaper than that. So that is where I recommend that you start. Let's make sure that we're getting those bullet points in order. Sleep, nutrition, intoxicants, and screen time. And then let's start with some walking and then build up into some resistance training. Thanks, Andrew. Good luck, buddy. I'm here if you need me. Holler at me. Moving on, Madison from Round Rock, Texas. She's 24, single, professional, busy, social life, trying to balance life. Here's the question. How do I stay healthy? I love this question. How do I stay healthy without becoming the boring friend who never goes out? Excellent question, Madison, because you're 24 years old. You should be out there living life. You should be enjoying things. You should be exploring. You should be finding yourself. You should be evolving yourself. You should be putting good people around you. You should be mixing it up. You should be out there doing things, connecting with folks. So, here we go. How do you stay on a fitness regimen? How do you stay healthy without becoming the boring friend? So, like I told Andrew, this is true for everybody. We may have to have the metaphorical funeral for old Madison, even though old Madison's only 24. You're going to have to make some adaptations. First of all, who are you hanging out with? Who do you want to be? These are the questions. You start with who do you want to be. Balance who you are with who you want to be. Let's make sure we find where those two intersect and start moving towards who we want to be and away from who we are without making draconian changes that typically fizzle out, that never last. What's your grand plan? Where do you see yourself in 1, 5, 10, 30 years? You need to think about this stuff. I know you're only 24, but you need to think about this stuff. Have you ever thought about it? Write it down. Just get a pen and paper. Don't put it in a notes app. Get a pen and paper and write this down. Does your current crowd, I'm sorry, let me back up for a second because this is really important. Write your plan down. Quick and dirty. Don't make an outline. Don't do anything like that. Just scribble and make broad strokes, like overall, in general, who do you want to be? I don't care about whether you want to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, whatever. Just broad strokes about who the person Madison should be in your vision, holistically. And going back to the people with whom you surround yourself, does your current crowd align with where you want to be, with that plan you just wrote down? If not, you're going to have to make some changes. That doesn't mean you cut people out of your life. That means you adjust your social life. Okay? So work. Does your work require you to do a lot? Some people work in industries that actually require them to be social, to go out, to eat, drink, and do stuff. Does your work require you to do a lot of social stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily do? That's a tough one because, we can't just jump up and quit our job because they need us to go to a party on the third Friday of the month to entertain clients. But you can adjust what you do at that party. You don't have to drink. Or you can severely curtail your drinking. Have a glass of wine and then have some water. No one's going to judge you. And if they do, that's on them. That is a them problem, not a you problem. Eat before you go to these things. Or if you can't, if there's a spread there, lean into the protein. Protein has a high satiety factor. It's going to make you full. Don't eat all that junk food. Don't eat all the cookies and the sugary stuff and the carbohydrates. Lean into the protein stuff. That'll fill you up. And you can't eat it as fast. So let's focus on making some of these changes. And you shouldn't live like you're 40 when you're 24. So don't worry about that. These are vastly different people, but you do need to live 24 without putting 40 in a hole. So that's how you make these little adjustments with that. And here's a big thing, and this is tough at your age. Learn how to say no. It's okay to say no to going out once in a while, okay? And I talked about this on a previous episode. Be resolute, set boundaries, be able to say no, and understand why you're saying no, and don't be apologetic for saying no. I got to get to bed. I got to get to work. I got to train, whatever it is. Those are your reasons, and they're valuable to you. Do not apologize for them. Learn how to say no. Anyone with a problem with that isn't someone you need around you anyway. And there's a saying that goes, if I can't trust your no, I won't trust your yes. And that means that genuine yes answers are only meaningful if no is respected, okay? So people will kind of try to push you around, okay? Not necessarily that they're being nefarious or malevolent, but they want to do their stuff. But they don't want to be alone, so they want you to do their stuff with them. So set some boundaries, learn how to say no. Your no will eventually be respected, and it will make your yeses a lot more valuable. Because if you're not honest about your limitations, your commitments that you make will hold no weight. And balancing fitness with a social life, this is about time management. As I mentioned to Andrew, make the time. The time is there. Make the time. And I'll say this once again, if you spend more than 0.0 seconds on your phone, you have time to do something. Okay? Give a time and a place for each of your lives, your fitness and your social life. Give a time and a place for each of those, and don't allow the other to interrupt that. So if you have gym time or workout at home time or walking or running or whatever the heck it is you do time, do not let the other overlap or interfere with that. Same thing with your social life. When you do say yes to going out, don't tell people no on that time that in your judgment that will be good for you or beneficial or healthy for you to go out and have a good time. Don't let a hard regimen make you say no to that. Give each other their place and their time. For time management, keep your workout short and focused. You don't have to work out for 60 or 90 minutes. You can get a real good workout in 20 minutes. If you need help, call me. And make good choices. As I kind of mentioned this earlier, make good choices. When you do go out, food and drink, easy on the alcohol, drink water, eat beforehand. If you can't do that and there's food there, lean into the protein, stay away from the sugar and the carbs. There you go. Start there. I hope you had your pen and paper that I told you to get out along with your life plan and write this stuff down. Like I said, I'm here if you need me. Keep after it. Good job. I'm glad you're thinking about this. At 24, you're ahead of the game. I'm glad you're thinking about this. I have Amy from Tempe, Arizona. Tempe or Tempe? I've heard both. Tempe sounds a little odd to me, so I'm going to go with Tempe. You please feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyone from that area of the world. I do like to use vocabulary correctly, and especially the pronunciation of proper nouns, place names, and people names. I don't like to get those wrong. I feel it's a disrespect thing if I don't do my best to give the courtesy of correct pronunciation. So anyway, Amy in Tempe. I just said it there, didn't I? Tempe. She's 51 and she's active. Her big thing is longevity and capability. And she asks, what kind of training matters most if my goal is staying capable into my 60s and 70s? Excellent. I hope you were listening to the fitness headlines of the day, because it referred right back to it when it comes to resistance training and fitness training for women in your demo, in your age group. You need to get out there and get ahead of sarcopenia. If you recall, sarcopenia is the age-related loss of muscle mass. And by the way, that starts around 30. There's nothing you can do about this yet. It starts around 30 and really accelerates after 60. So stay on it. Resistance training helps with sarcopenia and osteopenia and osteopenia and osteoporosis. So, without getting into super details about what kind of stuff that you should do, resistance training focusing on the fundamental human movement patterns. That's your push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge, rotate, etc. Gait, all those things. You just never can find if there are 5 human movement patterns or 7 or 8 or 12. People just keep adding on to them. And if you add on that much, if you keep adding on, they stop becoming fundamental, or stop being fundamental. Anyway, focusing on those movement patterns, push, pull, hinge, squat, and your gait or a lunge kind of works with that too. This is going to help increase bone mineral density and strength, and it's going to fight off those little demons of osteopenia, osteoporosis, and sarcopenia. Focus on compound movements. This kind of like helps with Madison, is to shorten your workout. So why do 5 different things when you can do one that incorporates all those? So compound movements based around the fundamental human movement patterns that involve a lot of Olympic lifts, and you can combine Olympic lifts. You can combine something that's one lift with a bar or dumbbells that incorporates a deadlift, a squat, a hang clean, a press. You can put all kinds of stuff in there, make it one movement, sort of compress these moves into one compound movement that not only saves time but works a lot of muscle groups. Because you're not a bodybuilder, I presume. We're not looking to add tons and tons of muscle mass. We're looking to preserve and add a slight amount of muscle mass as in relation to how you're aging. And cardiorespiratory training, of course, offers critical health advantages for senior women, including, I don't like to throw out a lot of numbers, but this, you need to hear this, a 64% relative risk reduction in mortality. That is death. So that seems like a worthy investment. The other things you're going to get out of becoming stronger and having stronger bones is fall prevention, mobility. Your gait's going to be better. You're going to have better joint health. It's going to help your sleep and help your cognition, your brain power. So, Amy in Tempe, Arizona, get after it. Pick up heavy stuff and put it down. Get your body moving and stay healthy, stay fit, stay well. All right, that is it for this bFIT bonus. Take this into the weekend and put it into motion. Now get out and go move yourself. Read, write, think, connect, and do. I want you to be mindful. I want you to be fit. I want you to be capable and resolute. And I'll leave you with this thought. I want you to reclaim legacy without ego, without hero narratives, without self-importance. Legacy is not, what will they say about me? Legacy is, what won't they have to fix because I lived up to my potential? Enjoy your life. Take care of your body, mind, and spirit. Don't worry about the big picture. Just take care of now, right now. And don't have a good weekend. Have a joyful weekend, whatever that means to you. Peace out, homies, and I'll talk to you all soon.